Hi there, thanks for joining me. I have an art journal for you today, and this has been created using the Epic Day bundle with the This and That album from Stampin' Up. This is what some of the pages look like. Beautiful designer series paper in there, and I've chosen the Calypso Coral double page spread. I have some Stampin' Up watercolor paper, and I'm just marking off where I want to draw a girl. And I'm using a 2B pencil, just sketching an oval shape. And then I'm going to put a line across the center and down the middle. And I'm using a template that I use quite a lot with all my whimsy girls that I draw. And using the eyes. I've drawn 3 eyes there. That's so that I can get the right distance. So you want an eye distance between the 2 eyes if you're drawing this kind of a girl. This is the way I drew them for this particular style. Now I've drawn 2 more lines underneath for the nose and the mouth. And now I'm going to fill in the details of the eyes, give her some eyelids and sort of a fish shape for the eyes there. And bringing in the smaller circles for the black part of the eye, the pupil. Drawing in her hairline. And now I have a Copic multiliner, and you need to be using a permanent marker when you're doing your black lines, because this is going to be watercolored. If you were to use your regular Stampin' Up marker here, it's a watercolor marker, so it would bleed. You need to be using something like a Copic multiliner or some sort of permanent pen. A Sakura Micron pen is quite good for this too. Now I'm bringing in my aqua painter and a folded piece of paper towel, and this is for cleaning off the aqua painter between colours. It's also for getting it started so that you have a bit of water on your brush to begin. I'm bringing in some pink pirouette and going around the eyes and the outside of the face and adding some water to blend that. And now I'm bringing in Blush Blossom, and this is sold separately. It's not in the Marvelous Markers pack. It's a separate marker because it's such a great colour for skin tones. It's called Blush Blossom. Now I'm bringing in a little bit more around the outside and more water. Pink Pirouette and Blush Blossom were the 2 colours that I used for this particular one, and then I added shading later. Now I have a soft suede marker, and I'm drawing the hair with the soft suede. Soft suede is one of the colours that's in the designer series paper I'm going to use, and it's also available in the watercolor wonder crayons. So I have a soft suede crayon, and I'm filling in where the hair will be, and you'll see how quickly excuse me, how quickly this will cover once you activate the crayon with your aqua brush. It really does give you a really solid colour fairly quickly. And if you get a little bit too wet, as I did just then, you just bring in that paper towel and blot. Now I've dried that off, and I'm bringing back the soft suede marker again just to draw some wavy lines for her hair. And while it's still wet, I'm adding quite a bit of water here. You can see I'm blotting as I go, and just activating that so it will bleed out into the rest of the design. I'm using my Calypso Coral marker, the brush tip of the marker. And now this technique is just to drag a little bit of colour from the marker onto the aqua brush. And that's creating the blush of the cheeks. I'm also dragging a little bit around the eyes, under the eyebrows, just for a little bit of shading there. Now I've squeezed some of that soft suede ink pad to make a little palette, and I'm dragging the soft suede from the palette to make some shading around the face. Make sure you dry off with your heat tool or a hairdryer between each different colour that you're using so the colours don't bleed into each other. Now I'm using Gumball Green around the eyes, and you can see once you activate that, those stripes in the eyes become much softer. You'll need your black marker and I've left a tiny white space there for the reflection in the eyes, and I'm just drawing a heavier line across the top. Then I'm bringing back that Copic multi-liner in 0.25 to make the eyelashes and just underneath the eyes as well. Here's a Signo Uniball white gel pen, and this is how I make the eyes light up. Just putting some little white lights for the light reflection. Now I've put a little bit across the top of the lids there, and I'm going to come and add a little bit more black to that so it's not quite so white. And put 2 dots of white in the corner of the eyes, the tip of the nose, the lip dip, the top of the forehead, under the brows, and a little bit on each lip. And I'm blending that with my thumb. Soft suede eyebrows, just tidying up the rest of the face. Now I'm going to bring in some shading for the hair. When you're shading your hair, you want to think of where the shadows might fall. It's usually darker right at the part line of the hair, wherever that may be. You can see how I'm using my marker directly to the paper and then blending it out with the aqua brush. And choosing various places where I think the light would fall and where the shadows are. Bringing in a bit more shading with that soft suede just to finish off. Under the nose, down the side of the nose, and she's ready to be cut out. I've dried her off with the heat tool. You want her nice and dry before you cut her out. And that's about where she's going to sit on my journal. Now I've chosen the designer series paper that comes in the This and That bundle, and I'm going to use the Delicate Doily stamp set because it has a very similar kind of motif, and stamping that down quite roughly. This is quite a vintagey look, so some of these images can be quite rough, and that just adds to the appeal of the piece. I'm stamping them on in Black Stays On ink. Now I'm ripping a side of this designer series paper to create the edges, and I'm using an Anywhere glue stick which has that great square edge. I love using this. I think it's a very economical glue to use. You actually get 2 of these glue sticks in a packet. I didn't realize that at first, and I was very delighted when I ordered these and found I actually received 2. Cut those edges with your paper snips. And now you're ready to glue on your little girl into the corner there, like so. Now I have a 2B pencil, and I'm drawing some words in with my pencil just to make sure that they will all fit. It's always a good idea to do this in pencil first so that you don't start in with your black marker and you realize those last letters just don't fit in. So doing it in pencil first is very important. You can see how I've created wavy lines there, and it helps the words to look just a little bit more artistic. This is the sticker sheet that comes with the This and That bundle, and I'm choosing some of the stickers to decorate the rest of the page. And this tiny little arrow, first of all I put it down here, and then I thought no, it's getting lost in the background, so I moved it onto the side and it looked much better. Morning Post Alphabet has a fabulous little vintage style hand, and I wanted a hand pointing towards the sentiment on this album. I'm using it without a block. I find with albums it's often easier to use your stamps unmounted. Now I'm bringing in some gumball green, and I decided to put some printer paper underneath my pages so that I wouldn't mark the pages in the rest of the journal, and just using my sponge and sponging all around the edges of the page and also onto the center of the page just to break up some of that calypso coral and bring in some of the beautiful gumball green. Now I'm integrating the stickers with the back of the page, activating that gumball green marker with the aqua brush and softening it back. And I always like to give a shadow line to my little dolls that I put on these pages so that they are integrated as well. Now I'm bringing in soft suede, and I'm doing an extra shadow where the words are. And now finishing off with the white gel pen. doing extra shadow again. So this makes the words really stand out from the page, and it just makes them look more artistic. Now I'm bringing in some Dazzling Details glitter glue. I'm going around the green parts of her eyes and her lips as though she might have some lipstick on. And I like to flatten that out with a paintbrush. Now I'm bringing in a little hot air balloon to put on the right hand side of the page. Again, integrating that with the gumball green and activating it with the aqua brush, and using some Dazzling Details glitter glue on that as well. And just using my paintbrush. And there it is, almost finished. The only thing I need to do now is to bring in this gorgeous little stamp that comes in the bundle. And I'm using, I think it's, what colour ink? Oh yes, it's soft suede ink on that, and I'll bring that in close so you can see it says best day ever and the date on it. So there's the left hand page, the right hand page, and some of the details. That's that lovely stamped image from the Morning Post alphabet, and you can see some of the sparkle on her face there, and some of the dazzling details on the little balloon image as well. So there's the art journal finished. I hope you enjoyed.